Good morning, Cougs. You are listening to Slice of Seattle on KUGR. I'm Smith Sly. I'm your host. This is the talk show where I'm giving you updates, hot takes, and hopefully talk to some important people. Cougs fans, it is a great day. It is a great week. It is a great month, and it is a great year because your Washington State Cougars are your 2024 Apple Cup champions. It was such a fun game to watch. I was watching it here from the dorms here in Pullman. I mean, whether you were watching it here in Pullman, if you were watching it in person at Lumen Field in Seattle, if you were watching it on TV, if you were listening to it on the radio broadcast, it doesn't matter. That was such a fun game to watch. Just super entertaining Apple Cup. John Mateer, 2 rushing touchdowns. It's just beautiful. It was so phenomenal to watch. Him put up that kind of performance for us. Granted, I mean, it comes down to that last play, fourth quarter, Huskies on the 2-yard line, fourth down. You got to get a touchdown there because I was sitting there, I was watching this game, and I was thinking to myself, man, if the Huskies score that touchdown right here while they're on the 2-yard line, which is doable, they get a touchdown right here. There's only about 1:20 left. It's such a slim chance of us being able to get downfield and be able to score a touchdown and able to get a win out of that. It's such a slim chance. And so I'm sitting here and I'm thinking this might be it. That might be it for the Cougs. And then it comes down to that play. They try to rush for that touchdown. They have a little option play. He gets stopped by the brick wall. He pitches it off to the guy behind him. He also gets stopped. I lost my mind. That was the defense just saw it all the way, able to shut it down, able to pick up that win. Because all you got to do is just, you just take a knee for the next, run the clock down. I mean, it's such a good, fantastic win. And I'll say this. After that game was over, everyone's rushing the field. There's all this chaos. They're on the TV broadcast. They're interviewing Coach Dickard, and he had one of the best lines I think I've ever heard a coach say. It was beautiful because they're interviewing him, and he says, "We won that game not because we hated them, but because we loved each other." And that is just beautiful. That is fantastic. That is such a good piece of coaching. So you can come into a game and know that you're not winning that game. You're not playing your best because you hate the team you're playing against, or you just have that hatred in you. It's because you trust each other and you love each other enough to come in there and pick up a win, and against your rivals, win the Apple Cup, stay undefeated. I mean, it's just beautiful, and it was just so fun to watch. And then Cougs football, they played last night for Parents' Weekends. They played against San Jose, picked up a nice 54-52 win. That was a really close game, too. That came down to the fourth quarter. It was such a close game. Cougs stay undefeated, 4-0. Look, it's looking like a pretty good season for Coug football, to be honest. I mean, looking at how UW played in the Apple Cup and everything, they had a lot of offsides, false starts, pass interference, just looked really, really undisciplined. And that paired with how well Coug football is playing just in general with John Mateer, who looks like he's just a fantastic quarterback. He can rush the ball. He can throw it. I mean, he's got all these weapons. I have a pretty strong feeling that the Apple Cup's going to stay in Pullman for a long time. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I want to see. And that's what I'm pumped to, I'm just so excited for that. So let's move on. Let's talk about baseball. Before I get to talk about the Mariners, though, I feel like there's a really big elephant in the room to talk about. Number 17, Showtime, Mr. 50-50, Shohei Ohtani, is the first player in baseball history to enter the 50-50 club. I mean, when we talk about superstar talent, when we talk about a player who is just incredible to watch, this is what we talk about. I mean, to be the only player in baseball history to have 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases in a single season is phenomenal. And when you think about it, the season's not over yet. There's still about a week and a half left of baseball to play in the regular season. That's not even considering the fact that he's going to go and play in the playoffs. It's going to be his first playoff run. Because, when he was playing with the Angels, they're awful. They were never going to make the playoffs. And now he's on a not only I wouldn't say a playoff contending team, but a World Series contending team in the Dodgers. I mean, I generally hate the Dodgers just because of how stacked they are. If you put Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, you put all this talent on one team, you're going to go far and you're going to win. So you're going to win playoff games, win a championship, whatever. And so it's really frustrating to watch because it's not the Mariners. So there's that. But I mean, just, hats off to Shohei Ohtani, just once in a generation player. I mean, I'm excited to see him play. And that's the thing too, is this is only his first couple years in the show. He's got so much more ahead of him. He's got so much more to come. I'm excited to continue to watch him play. So yeah, hats off Shohei Ohtani. Congratulations, Mr. 50-50. I think that nickname's going to stick. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the Mariners. So a bit of good news. Earlier in the week, we had the home series against the Rangers. They lost the first game in that series, but they're able to come back. It was a 4-game series, win the remaining 3 games. Thank you. Again, you'll hear me say this a lot here in September. Win as many games as you possibly can. Every single loss is just a gut punch, and we cannot afford to have any gut punches right now. But that series was good. It was a lot of clutch hitting in that series. Julio had a couple homers, and that's really fun to see. Julio is a home run hitter. Full stop. He is a home run hitter. I know he's capable of that. Everyone knows he's capable of that. He's a 2-time home run derby competitor. And so this year, the fact that he only has 18 home runs and we're in September is just really frustrating. So, I mean, I'm happy to see him heat up a little bit, keep hitting home runs, keep doing what he does. But, at the same time, where was this 2 months ago? Well, a month ago, 3 months ago? Where was this all season? Like, we needed this. Also, in that series against the Rangers, there was the Randy Arozarena home run. I can't remember which game it was on exactly, but, Randy Arozarena gets in the box, steps out 3 straight pitches, just watches them go by. And then, 3-0 count, gets his pitch to middle, I think it was a middle inside fastball, just cranks it in the left field, gets a home run out of it. That's great. You hit a home run off that pitch, that's fantastic and everything. At the same time, though, people were saying like, oh, that's really funny. He steps out in 3 straight pitches and he gets back in and he just crushes that home run and everything. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But at the same time, it's such an uncompetitive at-bat approach. And I've seen Randy Arozarena. That wasn't the first time he'd done that or the only time he's done it. He does that a lot. And I mean, as a baseball player, it makes me really like a little angry almost. Because I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, man, because the past couple times I've seen, I can't remember what game it was. I remember watching this. I remember being so frustrated. He pulled that. He went into the box, stepped out, took a ball. Stepped out, took a ball. Stepped out, and it was a strike. And then, he gets into a 3-1 count. And a 3-1 count is a hitter's count. You should be able to you should go into that, and you should just crush the baseball. Because 3-1, as you're the pitcher, you got to get something over the plate. You got to throw a strike. You got to get back, into it. So something's coming 3-1. Stay in there and crush it. But what's he do on a 3-1 count? He steps out again. And then it's a 3-2 count. You got a full count. And that is a much more comfortable count for a pitcher to be in than 3-1. And then, gets back in for 3-2, stays in there, and he flails at a breaking ball out of the zone, strikes out, right? That outcome is going to happen way more than the 3-0 homer that he hits, right? And so it's just really frustrating to see because to me, it just feels like he's big leaguing major league pitchers. And to be honest, with how the Mariners are performing and how Randy Arozarena is performing, I don't think he's in a position to big league anybody right now. So please don't do that. Please stay in the box, hit the ball, and just contribute. Please, just do that for me. After that series with the Rangers, Yankees come into town for a 3-game series, and the Mariners get punched in the mouth in that first game, 11-2. And I'm not saying that I kind of predicted that was going to happen or I thought that was going to happen, but, I mean, it's not what I thought was going to happen. I mean, look, you have one of probably the best pitching team in the Mariners going against probably one of the best hitting teams in the Yankees. I just knew in this series it was going to come down to which was going to be better. Was our pitching staff going to be better, or was the Yankees offense going to be better? That first game, the Yankees offense was so much better. They just came in and just dominated, hitting the ball. Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Anthony Rizzo. These are guys who are just phenomenal hitters going up against some of the game's best pitchers. And, they showed why they're the best hitters in the league. They put up an 11-2 performance. I mean, nothing you can do about that. And I'm going to talk about in that game and in the next game too. The two base running mistakes that everyone's talking about right now. I'll start with Victor Robles stealing home, first inning of that game. Look, I am not angry at Victor Robles whatsoever. I am not. All right? I'm also not angry at Julio, but I'll get to that later. I am not angry at Victor Robles because, look, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right? The Mariners, statistically speaking, with a runner on third, are probably not going to hit him in. They're not. They're most likely not going to do that, all right? If history repeats itself, which it always does, they're probably going to strike out, hit into a double play, something. They're not going to drive in that run. And I'm sure Victor Robles knows that. He knows that there's been so many times where he's been on third base and they haven't driven him in, right? So in his mind, he's thinking, I need to score. I need to find a way to get run production myself, figure it out, because I know, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but unfortunately, the guy at the plate is probably not going to get it done. So stealing home, that's a fantastic idea. He's got the speed. He's one of the best base stealers on our team. He is, full stop. He is super, super good. He's really quick. He's smart with it. So I completely stand by him wanting to steal home and get a run, just score a run early in that game because you need it. You need to score runs early in that game. And so, but look, I was watching it too. I went back and looked at it, the replay just over and over again. And I realized that the one mistake that just messed the whole thing up was just timing. Was just when he decided to go. Because I was watching it, the pitcher reaches down, grabs the rosin bag, picks up the rosin bag, drops in, like right as he's dropping it, Victor Robles takes off, right? And he's able to see him. He's able to get the ball out, get the ball to the catcher in time. That's the thing too. It was such a bang bang play. It was so close, and that's the thing is if he'd gone like a moment sooner, he would have been safe. And I was thinking about it. I was looking at it. He should have went as soon as the guy reached down to pick up the rosin bag. Because his eyes aren't looking at him. Even if they try and get his attention, he's not in a position to just get the ball out really quick and throw it. He's reaching down for something. He's distracted. That would have been the perfect time to go. And I was watching it, and I see that moment happen, and I'm just sitting there thinking, man, if he just gone right there, it would be a completely different story. So, again, I'm not angry at Victor Robles for that. Because, again, and people who are getting angry about him, I don't know what they're talking about. Because, again, look at the score. It's 11-2. That's a 9-run difference. All right, one guy getting thrown out at home doesn't change that. So yeah, and then the game after that is the game everyone's talking about, the 2-1 loss against the Yankees. It was such a beautiful pitching performance from Bryce Miller. It was fantastic. It was great. Bryce Miller and the Mariners bullpen worked to hold the Yankees to 1 run through 9 innings, right? They've been doing what they've been doing all year, which is limit run production for the opposing team and just dominate on the mound. And that's what they did after coming off an 11-2 loss where you let in 11 runs to come back and hold them to 1 run through 9 innings. That is fantastic grit. That is resolve. That is the ability to recognize the fact that you are going up against one of the best hitting teams in the league, but you're one of the best pitching teams in the league. And you trust your stuff, and you're going to come up there and you're going to shut them down. And that is mental toughness, and that is fantastic. And I love to see that from the Mariners bullpen. But again, the same old tune. There's just no run support. There was no clutch hitting. Justin Turner was the only guy who was able to crank one out, get a home run, which is great. Love to see him do that. But, if no one else is contributing, if only one guy is contributing per game, you're not going to win baseball games. That's just a fact, and that's been the case all year. So, and then now, let's talk about the whole Julio fiasco, getting picked off at third base. again, like I said with Victor Robles, I do not blame Julio for this. I don't whatsoever. I don't think it's his fault. It's a thing that happens in baseball sometimes. Because look, when you're on third base, when you're taking your lead, you're in foul territory. Because if the ball ends up coming at you and hits you, it's a foul ball. It's a dead play, and you're not out. Right? It's why you don't take your lead in fair territory. So he's taking his lead. He's in foul territory. Randy Rosarena just flings his bat at him because he swings and misses, strikes out on a horrible pitch, horrible swing, throws his bat at him. And honestly, in Julio's head, and if I was in Julio's shoes too, I would do the same thing. You see something flying at you, and more than 9 times out of 10, it's the ball because someone hits it and it's coming at you, and you think, oh, it's a foul ball, it's a dead play. That is a reasonable assumption to believe that it was a foul ball, that's a dead play, something just flew at you, you're trying to get out of the way, you're kind of get a little shaken up a little bit because you almost got hit by something, so you're kind of trying to walk it off a little bit, and then you don't realize that technically, I mean, I wouldn't assume, I haven't seen very many guys in my career when they just fling the bat like that, right? It doesn't happen really often, so that's not going to be your first go-to assumption is that they threw the bat. Your go-to assumption is going to be that the ball almost came at you. So, yeah, so I think Julio was, I'm not going to say he was in the right, but I'm going to say it's just unfortunate. As a baseball player, it's just one of those things where you just can't really account for it, and then you get picked off. And but honestly, what I'll say is I'm not mad at Julio for that. I'm more mad at Randy Arozarena. Hold on to the bat, because honestly, there've been a ton of times. It's just Randy. It's only Randy who I've seen done this. So many times where he swings at just horrible pitches and just throws the bat from his hands. It just leaves his hands. No one else in the Mariners is doing that. It's only him. I mean, I don't know what you need to do. You're a Major League Baseball player. Get a grip for your bats. Get pine tar. Get spray on tack stuff. Something to get a better grip on it so you don't just throw it. Because you throwing it like that, it's that stuff like that what is going to happen where Julio's going to think, oh, I almost got hit by a foul ball, and then gets picked off at third. Hold on to the bat and just stop swinging at balls that are way out of the zone. It's to strike him out and to throw him out. We end up losing that game 2-1, and a game where we probably 100% could have won that. And so that's frustrating, just a horrible, horrible loss, devastating. Because again, like I'm saying, every loss that you take here in September has the potential to just be a backbreaker. So you need to win as many games as you possibly can. Bit of good news then. The next game, you're able to pick up a 3-2 win. You avoid getting swept by the Yankees, which, I mean, I'm kind of angry that I'm saying that I'm happy that we avoid the sweep. But, that was it was a pretty good game. A lot of clutch hitting, mainly just, I believe we scored all 3 runs in the first inning. We just got guys on. We're able to hit the ball, get it out of the infield, drive guys in, which is fantastic. I love watching that. That is super, super fun to watch. It was also Cal Raleigh. I was about to say Cal Raleigh. It was Luke Raley's birthday on that game, too. He was able to throw a guy out at home, which I love watching plays like that. I love watching outfielders show off the arm, just get the ball, get the momentum going, huck it, and just get a perfect one bounce, one hop right to the catcher. As a former outfielder, I used to love doing that, especially if you're in practice or something like that. Just work on getting that ball to be able to bounce one bounce right into the glove of the catcher. It's right there and make that play. It's beautiful. It's poetry in motion, and it's so, so fun to watch. So yeah, you're able to avoid the sweep. You get one win against the Yankees. That's kind of about what I expected because the Yankees are a phenomenal team. They've clinched the playoffs. That's the other thing too is they clinched the playoffs too in that 2-1 loss, which was a little disappointing to see. But now going on the road, you're at the for the Rangers down in Texas. They played the first game of that series last night. They picked up a nice little, I believe it was 8-2 win, which was super fun to watch. Julio had 2 home runs in that game. And again, like I'm saying, Julio is a home run hitter. He's known for that. He can hit the ball hard. He's a big man, and he can hit the ball with power. I know he can. That's just what he's capable of. So getting to see him hit 2, well, first off, it was a pull ball to left field, which was the first home run. Phenomenal. Second home run was an oppo shot to right field. Phenomenal. Having a guy who can hit the ball out of the yard, going oppo and pulling the ball it's such a great talent to have, and I love to see him doing that. So that's great. Pick up that win, opening up that series against the Rangers, fantastic. And here's the thing too, like I mentioned in my show last week, the Rangers are not good this year. They are horrible, and you can tell that they're not happy about it. The Jonah Heim for the Rangers is not happy that the Mariners are coming in and beating up on them. They're just a much better team than what they're playing like, and we need to take advantage of that. You get a series, you get the 3-1 series win against them at home, and now you're playing against them again. You got a 3-game series against them here in Texas, right? You gotta sweep them, please. They are not that good this year. Granted, though, if I'm the Texas Rangers right now, if I'm in their shoes, and you have a team like the Mariners, I mean, I hate to say it, but you're playing against a team like the Mariners who are fighting. They're so close to getting a playoff spot. My mindset would be, I want to ruin your day. I want to stop your chances of getting to the playoffs, which is kind of frustrating because as a Mariners fan, I want us to be able to make the playoffs, but I know that we're going to be placing, because we're going to be playing the Rangers here, and then we're also going to be playing the Astros, and then we're going to be playing the Athletics. And the Rangers and the Athletics, both being teams that are not going to make the playoffs probably, are both going to be trying to ruin our playoff chances just out of spite, which I hate to say it, but you got to get in. The Mariners need to stay focused. Do not play down to the Rangers level, and stay competitive. They have a game tonight at 4:00. Just stay competitive, play your game, and beat the Texas Rangers because they are not that good this year. You can 100% beat them. So, yeah. And again, we're about, I think when I last checked, we are 2 games outside of the wild card spot, right? I believe the Minnesota Twins currently are 0 games back. The Tigers are 1 game back. Look, we got to keep playing our game, keep winning games, win as many as we possibly can, especially because we're going to have this series against the Rangers, which should be a series win, if not a sweep. And then you're going to have a pretty hard-fought series against the Astros, where you're going to need to win games. Like that, you're going to have to clutch up against the Astros because they are playing really, really well. But at the same time, we also need the Twins to keep playing badly. They've been playing horribly. They've been losing a lot of games. They need to keep playing horribly. We need the Detroit Tigers to lose games and not, and just play horribly. So that's the thing. It's a combination of relying on the teams that are ahead of us to just trip up here in September, and for us to have a franchise best September, basically, is what I'm hoping for. So that's about it for the Mariners. Moving on, we do have the Seahawks. So the Seahawks played last Sunday. They played against the Patriots. They were able to edge out a win 23-20. That is way too close of a game. Taking it to overtime, having to win it by a field goal is just, against the Patriots, who are not that good this year, is just a little frustrating. Because I know we can play much better than that. Again, I mentioned it last week too. The offense is just not looking as good as it has been before in years prior. I mean, you had Walker out in that game. Charbonnet came in. I think he did pretty good. He picked up the slack. I think he rushed for a touchdown in that game too. So he looked great. So we have we have some depth in the running back position, which is great. It was super fun to see DK get a touchdown. I think this first touchdown he's had this year. And he was wide open too. That's the thing. And that's the thing I'll tell you about DK is that if he gets open, he gets the ball, he's gone. No one can catch him. He got open, gets the ball. They try and track him down. He's too fast. He's a specimen. He's strong. He's stronger and faster than probably anyone who gets paired up with him. I think the thing though is that he gets. Last year, I think people saw it too, and probably this year too is going to be the case. Is they're covering him really intensely because they understand that fact. If you leave DK open, they're going to hit him. He's going to take off. He's going to score a touchdown. So they got to cover him really. They got to just stop him from even getting the ball. So on the defensive side of it, I mentioned last week that our defense was really, really good against the Broncos. We were able to shut them down. We were able to stop them from getting touchdowns. Last Sunday against the Patriots, it it looked like their offense kind of had our defense figured out. They basically just they didn't rush the ball very much. They just went to the air, 5-yard gains, just really quick passes. Because I think they understood that the D line for the Seahawks is really good, and it'll penetrate, it'll get in, and they can get sacks, right? So I think the Patriots understood that. So they hike the ball, get a quick pass off to one of your guys, pick up 5 yards, do it again, get the first down. Another 5 yards, first down. Another 5 yards, first down. And just inch your way down the field and then pick up a touchdown. And then you're also burning time. And so I think that was their whole approach. That was their approach the first half, right? They were to pick up a couple touchdowns. Second half, what I saw was the Patriots went to the ground a lot more. They were running the ball. I think probably because the defense for Seattle started to realize that they were just doing this little 5-yard gain, just trying to inch their way downfield. So we were able to pick up on that, and then the Patriots were able to switch up their plan a little bit. On the other side, that Jackson Smith-Njigba had a great offensive game. That was super fun to watch. He had a lot of targets, a lot of catches. He's a young guy who I think is going to be crucial for us. I think he's got to keep playing good football, keep doing what he's doing. He's got talent, and I think if we can keep hitting him. And that's again, this is the thing I'll mention is that the offense for the Seahawks has a lot of great players. You got Tyler Lockett, you got Jackson Smith-Njigba, you got DK Metcalf, you got Walker, you got Charbonnet. These are guys who are playmakers, and they can make stuff happen offensively. So you got to find a way to use them. Put up a lot more than just 23 against the Patriots, right? And don't let those games go to overtime. Because that was just way too close of a game against a bad team. And again, that's kind of what happened with the Broncos too. Granted, they won in regular time, but that game was, one touchdown away from being a Denver win, right? And that's the same thing with the Patriots. They're I believe it's one field goal away from having won that game, which is just way, 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 way too close. So then, the Seahawks are going to play tomorrow too against the Dolphins. Do I think they're going to win that game? Probably. Dolphins are. Now they have Tua is out. I think he's still out with the head injury. Their starting quarterback's not there. I would take advantage. I would take full advantage right now. Go in. Don't play down to their level. Use your offensive weapons. Keep playing solid defense. And you'd be looking at being 3-0. Back-to-back-to-back wins, right? I think this is right now the first part of the Seahawks schedule is pretty easy. They're playing kind of bummy teams that they can beat pretty easily. And I think a little later in the season, we're going to hit a very, very rough patch of the season where we're going to be playing a lot better teams who are probably going to beat us, or it's going to be really close. And that's the thing. From what I'm seeing for these first 2 games, and then I'm going to watch this game against the Dolphins tomorrow. What I'm picking up on is that we're barely beating bummy teams. And what that tells me is that when we play against a good team or a team that's dominant right now, it's not going to go very well. We are a good football team, and we can totally play much better than what we're playing right now. So I think the main thing is it feels like we're playing down to our opponents. So I think coming into this game against the Dolphins, the goal should be just play the game that you are capable of playing and do not play down to the Dolphins level, please. So that's about it for the Seahawks. Then we got the Kraken. I'm really, really excited. So training camp started on Thursday. Things are looking really, really good for the Kraken right now. Starting off, I want to talk about Shane Wright. So looking at him during training camp, he's looking pretty good. Personally, I think it's going to be a breakout year for Shane Wright. First 2 years or so in the league, he's played a couple games with the Kraken. He's been moved down to the Coachella Firebirds a couple times, which, that's not uncommon to happen in any sport. You got a young guy coming into the league, plays a couple games in the show. They realize that maybe he needs a little time to build up some confidence, get some more playing time, so they move him down to the minors. It happens all the time in baseball. And so I think he's had that time to play with the Firebirds, build up his confidence. And when he was playing with the Firebirds too, he was putting up really, really good numbers. Build up his confidence, build up his skills, get himself playing time, get himself some work. And I think the 2024-2025 season is going to be Shane Wright's year. I think he's going to be really good this year. He's going to come out. He's going to put up the best year he's put up so far, get the most ice time he's had all year with the Kraken. I think it helps that Dan Bylsma, the new head coach for us, was the head coach for the Coachella Firebirds. He knows Shane Wright. He's coached him. He's watched him play a lot. So I think that that's going to help Shane Wright get some more playing time, which is good. I love watching Shane Wright play. In the games that he would play with the Kraken, he was pretty good. You could tell he was young. You could tell he didn't have a lot of experience, and he was still trying to figure himself out. But I think, after these first 2 years coming into this, I think this is going to be about his third year now. I am excited to see him play with the Kraken, and I'm excited to see what he's able to produce for us. So, also looking at Stevenson, who we brought on from the Knights. I think he's going to be a great addition to this team, without a doubt. He's really good. You're bringing Stanley Cup talent onto the team. He won the Stanley Cup with the Capitals. He won it with the Golden Knights. So you're bringing a veteran player with that kind of veteran experience, that Stanley Cup experience, that playoff experience onto the team. And I wouldn't say that he's about 31 years old right now, right? So he's people are saying that the one criticism they have about him is that he's on the wrong side of 30, which sure, he is getting up there a little bit, but look at Alex Ovechkin. I think he's in his late 30s or something like that. And he's still one of probably, maybe not, I think last year he had kind of a rough year, but he's one of the best hockey players in the league. So I think age isn't really I wouldn't look at that as being something that's going to decrease his value. And the other thing too is he's not an overwhelming offensive player, and he's going to just be he's going to be scoring goals every single game. That's probably not going to be it. I think he's going to be a playmaker. I think he's going to be a veteran guy who's got that experience, that mindset, and he's going to bring it to the team, and he's going to lift everybody up to be playoff caliber players. And they asked him too. When they were interviewing him after the training camp, they asked him what his expectations are, or what his goal is for the Kraken this year. And I love this. This is one of my favorite quotes now. Is he just says, "A cup. That's the goal." That is such a good mindset for a guy coming onto a Seattle team with the expectation, with the goal that they are going to win a cup. That's fantastic. That's such a good mindset, and I love having a guy on our team who's coming from 2 Stanley Cup winning teams, coming here, seeing our guys, playing with our guys, practicing with them, and understanding that his goal and the goal for the whole team is to win a cup, which means the expectation is to make playoffs and get back into the playoffs, which is it. I love that. I already love Stevenson. I'm excited to watch him play. I want someone who brings that mentality of that, I'm not settling for anything. I'm not settling for a playoff run. I'm not settling for a loss or anything like that. I'm settling for we win the Stanley Cup. And I just love a guy who's like that. So I'm excited to see Stevenson play. Then also you got Beniers in training camp. He was looking pretty good, looking really quick. He had kind of a rough season last year. Didn't put up the best numbers that we know he's capable of putting up. Do I think he's going to be a little angry coming into this year? A little bitter, a little bit, yeah. I think that's a fire underneath him. I think he's going to be aggressive coming into the season. I think he's going to play probably some of the best hockey he's going to play. And they also interviewed him. They asked him what his goal or what his expectations are for this season. And again, I love this mindset. He just says to be in the playoffs. Anything below that is a disappointment. That is, Matty Beniers, I love you. That is such a good mindset. Come into the season, come into the year, not thinking, oh, we're rebuilding, or oh, we're, it's going to be, a rebuilding year for us. We're not going to win very many games. We're hopefully, next couple of years, maybe we expect it. No, this year, right now, with the guys that we have, with the talent that we have on this team, we are going to make playoffs. And if we don't, that's a disappointment. That is a fatal. It's a mess up. And so you got guys like Stevenson, you got guys like Beniers. They're coming in. And I'm sure Brandon Montour, we've just got brought on from the Panthers, who's also a Stanley Cup winner. I'm sure he's thinking the same thing. There's no way he's not thinking the same thing. All through Stevenson, Beniers, Montour, I'm sure all three of them are sitting there thinking, we are winning. We are going to the playoffs. We are getting back into the playoffs. And then once we get into the playoffs, the goal becomes we win a cup. We go to the cup. We win it because we are capable of doing that. Because again, I'll say this all the time, constantly. The Seattle Kraken are a playoff caliber team. They are. When they were a playoff caliber team last year, they were a playoff caliber team in 2022. They have the talent, the skills, the abilities to be such a phenomenal hockey team. We know we've seen them play like that, right? Last year was a bit of an anomaly. It was awful. You trip up there at the end. You're not able to make it to the playoffs. But look, you're bringing on guys like Stevenson. You're bringing on guys like Montour. You got talent in Matty Beniers. You got, young talent, not old talent, young talent who's going to be here for a long time with Matty Beniers, Shane Wright. You're re-signing guys onto the team who want to keep playing because they're not abandoning ship. They're not looking at us like, we're not going to make the playoffs. We're not that good of a team. The team's falling apart, yada, yada, yada. They're looking at this team, understanding the fact that it is a playoff caliber team who has the capability of going far into the playoffs and possibly making a Stanley Cup. And that's the goal. That's not a fluke. That's not like, oh my gosh, we made it to the playoffs. I wasn't expecting that. That's the expectation, is that we make the playoffs. So I love that. I love that mindset. As a sports psychology guy, I love that thinking, that mindset of being in that we are going to win and we are going to go really far. Preseason for the Kraken also starts tomorrow too, September 22nd. They're playing against, I believe it's the Calgary Flames. I think most of the preseason games for the Kraken are in Canada. I think they're kind of bouncing around between Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver. So, I mean, decent hockey teams. Edmonton is, coming off the Stanley Cup loss. So I think they're pretty mad this year. They're going to be probably a tough one to play. And then the home opener for the Kraken, I believe, is October 4th. That's the start of the season against the Blues. So yeah, a lot of good news coming out of the Kraken. I'm super excited for it. I'm a huge hockey fan. And just seeing what this team's looking like, I'm excited to watch them play that preseason game. I want to see how fast we're looking. I want to see what kind of talent we got, what we're going to be able to put up against Calgary. So I'm just so pumped. It was a really crazy week this week. A lot of crazy stuff happened in the sports world. Apple Cup win, Shohei Ohtani, 50-50. Mariners are getting closer. They're closing the gap on that wild card spot. So just a lot of crazy stuff's been going on. But yeah, that's pretty much that does it for this week. So thank you guys so much for listening. Again, you're listening to Slice of Seattle on KUGR Cougar College Radio. Remember, it is a great day to have a great day, and go Cougs.